In this video, I'll be showing you how to defeat Malenia without having to rely on a mage build or summoning other players. I completed this boss with a spirit summon only, and I'll be teaching you how to do just that, as well as where to go to activate Malenia's rune once you do defeat her. Stick around so you do not miss out on that. So let's get into it. Malenia is really weak to bleed, so you really want to take advantage of that regardless of the build you're using. But since I'm a faith and dexterity build, I went with katanas and some incantations. And the incantation I suggest the most is Swarm of Flies, as it's going to occasionally stun her when she's idling, and also she has a hard time dodging the Swarm of Flies projectile. And then for my weapons, I went with Yuchi Katana and Naga Kiba. Since I started as a wretch, I wasn't able to get 2 Yuchi Katanas, and preferably use a Ash of War that causes bleeding, preferably seppuku, but when I was recording this footage, I didn't use that Ash of War. I was using a blood type slash, and it still did the trick. And if you plan on playing without summoning other players, I heavily suggest you use a spirit summons, such as the Mimic. But keep in mind that Malenia does siphon health whenever she attacks you or your summons or spirits. And I'll get into the strategy on what to do about this later on in this video. The fight with Malenia is a lot like a dance, because if you're off beat, she's going to absolutely destroy you. So you really want to catch her in her pace and really punish her whenever she's idling. And do not get too greedy, because if you get too greedy, she's just going to beat your ass and siphon all your health away, and you'll be back at where you left off. Whenever she's focused on the Mimic is when it's best to start hitting her. However, whenever she does this flying lunge into this combo that you see on screen right now, you do not want to interfere with that, because if you do take her aggro, she will move from attacking your Mimic to you within the same combo, and unless you start running away instantly as soon as she aggroes you, you're going to be caught in that, and it's going to essentially be insta-death, and her health is going to be way back up. It's also important that you do not let your Mimic take too much damage, because every hit Malenia does onto it, she's going to regain health, and this is just going to extend your time within this boss fight. And the longer you're fighting Malenia, the more of a chance you have dying to her. If you're able to catch a flow with your Mimic where you're both attacking her at the same time and she's getting stun blocked, and you're able to corner her, it's going to be a really easy time in phase 1. But you do have to really be careful if she doesn't decide to grab you or the Mimic, because if she does this and successfully pulls it off, again, she'll siphon health and also potentially kill you or your Mimic. Phase 2 is more or less the same, just a little bit more fast paced with 1 or 2 extra moves from Malenia. But the most important thing to keep note is whenever she does this flying lunge into the ground with the Iona explosion incantation, you really want to avoid that, because that will insta-kill you, and if you do survive, it will cause rot and you will die from that too. So definitely avoid that. But you'll also want to take the aggro from those kind of attacks, because if she hits your Mimic instead of you, your Mimic is not going to dodge that. And so she'll end up siphoning health very quickly off your Mimic. Therefore, in phase 2, you want to be really aggressive. Try to take off the aggro from your Mimic when possible. Play safely but aggressively. This fight really is just based on repetition and how quickly you can learn her moveset, because she has a lot of different moves, but once you learn it, the fight becomes a lot easier. Also, you'll feel very frustrated a lot of the time, so if you ever feel like you need to take a break from this fight, definitely do so and come back later. But definitely don't give up on the fight, because it is a really good fight, and once you do complete this fight successfully, you'll feel really, really satisfied, and you'll also be heavily rewarded. So talking about rewards, you'll get, once you defeat Malenia, you'll get the Remembrance of Malenia as well as her Great Rune. And so to activate her Great Rune, you'll want to go to the 4th Church of America. And then from here, you'll want to go to the Tower of Return. So just follow the path I take, heading southeast. You'll also see a walking island here. you could use to duplicate remembrances. Once you do get to the tower, climb up to the top and open the chest. It is a trap that does teleport you to Lindell Ashen Capital. So just follow the path I take again. There's going to be a giant sleeping. You do not have to fight him. He's actually really tough to kill, even at this level. So just teleport yourself and you'll end up at the isolated divine tower. Take the elevator up to the top. There is a site of grace, and then once you do that, you could activate the great rune. Malenia's Great Rune gives you attack, recover HP after damage is taken, so essentially you could get the Blood Siphon ability that Malenia has. I hope you found this video useful. My goal with this video was to show that this fight was possible without having to respec into a mage build. There's a ton of videos on YouTube that are trying to incentivize you to respec into a mage build to cheese bosses. But I hope this video shows you guys that you do not have to cheese Malenia. You do not have to respec your build. As long as you have a strategy that works, then you'll be fine. You just have to commit to one strategy and keep doing that until you're able to master that strategy, master the boss fight, and you'll get through it. And if you want to watch more videos like this every week, then be sure to subscribe. With that being said, I will see you in the next video. Peace.